Uh, Gemma, has the moment arrived where I can read the statement, etc.?
Yep, you should be
Okay,
good.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the City of Gloucester's Clean Energy Commission meeting of Wednesday, March 27th, 2024. And the statement that we read before each remote meeting, each Zoom meeting, is this. This meeting is recorded by video and audio in accordance with state open meeting law. Pursuant to Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting will be conducted by remote participation. Additionally, all votes taken by the Clean Energy Commission during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. And if anybody wants to join by phone, the number is 1-301-715-8592. So let's go right to the agenda now. And the first items on the agenda are under general discussion, introduction of members and staff, which I will now do. And starting from the top of my screen, Linda Brayton is here. I am Candace Wheeler and I am here. Sarah Shemkus is here.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah. And Sam Cleaves is here. And John Moskal is here tonight. And Gemma Wilkins is the sustainability coordinator for the City of Gloucester, and she is an important part of every CEC meeting. Do we have any minutes that we want to approve this evening? I know that we were all sent some. I don't know if people have had an opportunity to read them because several arrived at once.
I went through them, and I think there was one meeting that I wasn't at that I can't sign off on, but the others all look fine to me.
Okay.
I went through them all, and there's two or three small edits, but they kind of matter, so I maybe would like to mention those.
Do you
Okay.
do you have them right now,
Yes,
Linda? Can
I
we?
do.
Great, I can make the changes right now, actually.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so September 20th. Under Gemma on page 3. What within the city are we promoting? Save Gloucester residents $14.5 million, not 4.5.
Oh,
That's pretty substantial.
It makes all the difference. And on the last page, the Linda referred to, I think, is Linda Stout, and it, looks like it might be me because I was at this meeting. Linda Stout and Gemma putting together outreach plan. If you want to give me credit, sure, but I don't recall. So that was
Very honorable of you. Not to claim credit.
I just don't want anybody to think I'd do it again. Okay. And then the other one on August 16th, on the first page, update on EDIC letter to National Grid. It's connected with Tom. I mean, he should have his last name, and it's Balf. And it's not the CEC, it's the EDIC.
Linda, I'm very sorry. Do you mind just going back to the? I just took a second for things to load. Do you mind just going back to the first one on Wednesday, September 20th? It was the 14.
I explained all of it. No, Linda's
14 cents versus 4.
14.5 million versus 4.5 million on the third page. Just below the. You're saying it, and it's just under the staff update.
Staff update. Promoting.
This bullet points. It's the third bullet point.
So I think it should be 4.5 million.
I think so. I think it's been said as 14.5.
Well, let's verify it.
Yeah, I'll verify it.
Yeah.
I'll highlight that. And then the next one after that.
On the last page, it's Linda Stout.
Linda Stout, yes.
Okay.
All right, sorry about that. And then the next one was
And
the April one, right?
August,
August, right?
yeah, first page,
And then Google Docs.
update on EDIC letter,
All right,
Tom Belf
Tom Balf
with the EDIC.
with the EDIC. All right, was that all the?
Yep,
Okay, great. So then would you like to, Candace, vote to approve with the changes?
Yes, and maybe we do those two first because there were changes, and then are there others that are ready to vote on?
Yes.
we have to hold the one that's 14.5 or 4.5.
Well,
Okay,
we just approve it pending Gemma's verification of the number, and let's move on.
Is that okay, Gemma?
Yeah, we can do that. Let's just vote for that one first. That is September 20th, 2023. And then we'll vote for the rest of the three.
but I have a motion to approve
I
the,
move that we approve the September minutes pending Gemma's verification of the savings number.
Second.
and roll call vote. Linda Brayton, how do you
Aye.
vote? Candace Wheeler, aye. Sarah Shemkus,
Aye.
and Sam Cleaves,
Aye.
and John Muskell.
Aye.
Very good. The motion is carried. Okay,
and then
now,
another to vote to approve July 12th, August 16th, February 21st.
I move that we approve the July 12th, August 16th, and February 1st minutes.
Sorry, 21st.
21st.
21st, sorry.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. And here comes the roll call vote. Linda Brayton,
Aye,
Candace Wheeler, aye. Sam Cleaves,
Aye.
Sarah Shemkus,
Aye.
and John Muskell.
Aye.
Thank you. Very good. Now, we can move on.
we have February 21st.
That included that group.
Okay, sorry, missed it.
Okay, at this point, I'm not aware of anybody having any brief reports on conferences or minutes in this section of the meeting. I think that there'll be a discussion of the meeting that Linda Brayton attended with Sam Cleaves as an agenda item later on. I just wanted to mention that we were all informed that the state has now created an Office of Energy Transition for the state of Massachusetts. And I haven't had a chance to read the long email that announced the creation of the agency, but it seems to be a very clear statement of the priority that the state is giving to climate change and the response to it. So shall we move on now to staff
I'm
report?
sorry, I just want to throw two things out
Oh,
here.
okay, thank you.
One of them is that there was the DOER town hall. And I did circulate the slides and recording, but that was really excellent if you want an overview, comprehensive overview of DOER
Excellent.
departments and their goals and objectives and so forth. And the other one was, there was the information, the virtual hearing on grid modernization plans. I cannot find any place where they've actually put up a link in recording, but the EDIC was one player in that hearing, and they have submitted a petition. So that happened.
Excellent.
Candace, may I just give a brief update of something that I attended?
Sure.
Okay, very quickly. I went to the Environmental Business Council's meeting they have a quarterly adaptation forum that basically focused on regional resiliency groups, people like Charles River Compact, Mystic River Collaborative. There's a group in Minnesota, another one in Louisiana, but the most interesting one to me, at least, I think would capture our attention is the Resilient Coasts Initiative. I think that we should have at least some contact with, I know Julia Neisel, who's running it, and at least have some input or perhaps have them present as to what they're doing, because they're really doing a lot of great work. around resiliency per se. So, and how that may help us in our small resiliency mission.
Well, that sounds like it would be a very good thing to pursue. Sam, do you want to sound them out about whether they would like to attend a meeting and give a presentation?
Sure.
Okay. Sounds great. And any need to vote on that? I don't think so. If nobody protests, we will go on. Okay, so now we are at staff and member topics, the staff report with Gemma Wilkins.
Candace, if I can, I just to be respectful that John has a hard stop at 6, and I think we want to have Sam talk about the changes that they're suggesting on the ordinance, if we can swap that.
Sure, absolutely.
Sure.
And I can pull it up for you if that would be helpful, Sam.
Okay, that's fine.
So we will move up the topic on updating from the Ordinance Review Subcommittee.
Yep.
And we have posted on the screen the proposed revisions.
Okay, very briefly, we met 3 times and reviewed the language and compared the language of our ordinance with other bylaws and other ordinances in Eastern Massachusetts. We reviewed our mission, and it's, even though it's rather broad, it's broad in the body and it's narrow in the mission. We agreed that, at least for now, it's adequate to our needs, and there was no need to change the general, either the introduction or the tasks associated with the mission, because they cover a lot of territory, as they were meant to do when it was put together. So to Gemma's needs, and I think to the overall efficiency of the commission itself, we did go through and look at some of the things. The first thing that we went into, if you drop down to section 2543 duties, you drop down to 7. We did, just for housekeeping sake, we took out the maintenance of an active website. That's really never been one of the duties or activities of the CEC, and we thought it best to just clean that up and take it out. The city staff administers really all of the website activity of what there is for the commission. So we took that out.
Great.
Going to section 2544 membership, we did some housekeeping here in an effort to clarify and simplify. We took out the staggered 2-year terms, which were instituted at the beginning of the establishment of the CEC, when there was a need to create an entirely new commission. Obviously, you want staggered terms so that you're not voting out entire slates and looking for filling the entire board at once. There's with our current membership, we've got people coming in and out based on those original staggered terms, so there's really not a fear of that now. 3 years gives more stability, and then in thinking about it, we added also a section B that you'll see in green, where we have an alternate member set up. This is something that's common to several other commissions, as well as other types of boards, Concom's, planning boards, where you have alternate members in case of a vacancy. In the case of a absence or inability to act or vacancy, we can call on people who would be sitting as alternate members and ask them to attend and vote on commission matters. So those were those changes. And then in reporting, getting down into we're reporting to the mayor on an annual basis, and our discussion focused on the development, not so much of a long-term work plan, but this report would be a summation of the projects that we've worked on over the previous year, And we're hopefully thinking about doing this towards the end of the calendar year every year, and then putting together but it would basically be just a summary of what we've done. What would go away would be the never used reporting to the council. Particularly the way the commission is set up now, this is really part of the administration. It's really not part of the legislative body. So staff and CEC, at least the way I view it, really are part of the administrative branch of Gloucester government, not the legislative branch. So we should be reporting really only to the mayor. So that simplifies it. We obviously can still respond to questions from the council, but reporting to them seems to be asking for confusion and sort of double two bosses instead of one. So that was it. Those are the basic changes that we made. We think that they'll add, just clarify things and particularly add to our ability to hold meetings and to get things done. So that's what we have.
I would like to compliment this group on such a very useful, clear review, and the changes that are proposed seem very good to me. Now, this sounds like it should have a roll call vote to adopt the changes. Does everybody agree with that? If so, if I can we go
Candace,
back.
Hold on, Candace, I
Okay.
think I had sent an email when this came around to
Oh.
you and to Gemma with, with another thought on one of the other items here.
I'm sorry, John.
Do we want to take that up after we approve the changes that Sam is proposing? Or should that be done within the context of this larger discussion?
Does it affect any of the provisions?
No,
of-
it affects one of the provisions on the previous page, but it doesn't affect any of the proposed edits that Sam is proposing right
Okay.
now.
Why don't we?
hear it? Can we just hear what it is? Then we can decide what.
Well,
Okay.
go up to the previous page, and if you look at item number 4 there, it's so amorphous as to, I just think the language needs to be tightened up and actually tied to something that we would be doing on behalf of the city. Otherwise, this just, ends up being discussions about New York Times articles, and that's a waste of everybody's time.
I'd like to add to that 4 caught my eye also, because adaptation and mitigation, as I understand them, I feel like we're more on the mitigation side than the adaptation side, which is a whole other kettle of fish.
That's Sarah, that's been an axe that I've been grinding for a long time. And, if this is an energy commission, adaptation stuff is way outside of our scope of work.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, I just don't think that's stuff we ought to be dipping into, and there are other boards with that expertise.
So what does the CARP say? That would be what language is in the CARP?
I think that's why I brought this up, and we need to defer to Gemma, who's the city rep.
I'm asking Gemma. I'm actually asking Gemma.
yeah, I mean, so the CARP obviously includes both adaptation and mitigation. And I think, going into this, one of the questions was if you wanted to limit, if you wanted to narrow your scope a little bit to just energy, or if you wanted to potentially widen it to include more adaptation. And it seems like the conclusion was that, your scope kind of gives flexibility to go into a little bit of adaptation if needed, but is really more focused on energy. I would think that this would be part of the conversation, and some of the stuff that was decided is really useful to me, right? Some of this other stuff, this is a little bit harder of a conversation. It's really more about the mission. So I don't have an answer for you, but I can say, right, like it certainly falls under my purview based on my job description, and it falls in the purview of the CARP, but it doesn't necessarily have to fall
Yeah.
within
I-
what you
well,
guys
well,
do.
Can I just
I'm
try?
not, hold on, hold on. I'm not
Can I-
saying
can
we
I
need to
finish?
get rid of this altogether. What I'm saying is that the language is so poorly written in it right now that it's, you know, it just needs to be tightened up in a bit that actually gives us something to do. And so if we as a commission and you as the rep from the city, Gemma, think that it's useful for us to have this as part of our portfolio, we just need some clearer language on here for this, so we actually have some things or can construct some things to do under the purview of that.
May I comment?
Can I say something, please?
Why
We
not?
have in the past
Linda, go
Sure.
first.
spent many, many hours and weeks and so forth on adaptation and mitigation at the various, I'm trying to think what the committee was, but we've been getting grants and we were the main people that were working on those kinds of grants and those kinds of issues. We had big meetings in the city hall and everything else where we were doing it. So, I mean, maybe the language could be a little clearer, but these things absolutely have been in the past part of our purview.
Sam, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, so in our in reading other towns, some of the what's happened is, I think, and I agree, and I appreciate John's willingness to bear with this, because we've had this discussion so much before, and other members of the commission as well. What's happened is, at least in my opinion, is that most of these ordinances were formed in the early days when Green Community was solely focused on mitigation issues and efficiency, and certainly that's enough to keep any board or commission busy. On the other hand, we do house the CARP plan. I honestly, beyond the Conservation Commission, I do not see another commission or board that is really focused on resilience or adaptation. So I think it's worth having the discussion to see how the language might be adapted. I think it's purposely sort of left vague so that we have you know, an option to get into things if we want to, or decline if we want to. But there are things, I think, particularly around resilience within the CARP plan, which was done for us, that nobody else is picking up. It's just sitting there,
Well,
that I think deserve our
I would,
attention.
I would say then, Sam, we tie it to that.
Yeah.
You know, the way
Okay.
this is written, it says identify issues.
Yep, yep.
You know,
Yep.
that's just really, you know, as a regulation, that's really not well written.
Okay.
And, you know, what are we doing and for whom?
Okay.
And so if we tie this to the city, we've just made this decision that we're part of the administrative branch of city government. We work for them,
Yeah.
you know, for this, so that should be factored into here, and we tie it to the existing city plan.
Yeah, okay. I think that's fair, John. And why don't I will sit and work with Gemma on this. I volunteer to spend a little time and try and tighten this up.
Great.
Is that satisfactory to everybody?
Yep.
I think this might suggest that we hold the approval of the changes until the next meeting, when we have a chance to insert some additional language for number 4.
Oh, could we not do that? I would move
Okay.
to approve the changes just to get it done, and then come
Okay.
back and keep working on it, because we've been working on this a long time. It's been floating around for months.
Okay,
That's
So
just
we-
my opinion.
we can adopt it as written with an understanding that we will revisit number 4 at a later meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Can somebody hand me a motion that kind of says that?
I move that we adopt the revisions to the ordinance as presented, with the proviso that we will revisit item number 4 at a later date.
We have to meet again, anyway,
Second, please.
right? I mean, the subcommittee's got to have one more meeting, so we could probably take care of it. We could discuss it then, and that will be soon.
Okay, we can either do that, or we can approve what we did sort of retroactively and just do it administratively as we
As
know.
long as it doesn't stop us cold because we didn't do it right for the official doing. That's how it works.
Right, right. Well, let's talk about that. We'll schedule a meeting and we can either put it on the agenda or not.
Okay.
So we have John's motion on the table here. Is there a second to that motion, or have we changed strategy here?
Second,
Okay, let us go with the roll call vote. Let me start with Linda Brayton,
Aye.
Candace Wheeler, aye. Sarah Shemkus,
Aye.
Sam Cleaves,
aye.
John Moskell.
Aye.
Okay, the motion is passed. And my thanks and admiration to the committee that has been working on this. I think you had some very good observations, and John, thank you for your watchfulness over not leaving things vague in any places that could open too many doors. I think that's a good instinct. Okay, now I have to unbury my agenda. And that takes care of the update from the Ordinance and Review Subcommittee. Should we return to the staff report now, Gemma, or would you like us to do the other update on the feedback for the training of boards and committees on the hybrid live Zoom meetings first?
I might actually defer to John. Would you rather hear the updates on geothermal and aggregation
Yes.
or, okay.
Okay,
So
proceed to that
let me,
item with Gemma.
so in terms of the heat network geothermal study, I think you may have heard, because they put a press release out, so word has started to go around, but we were awarded a grant of $50,000 to implement a network geothermal study around the area of our high school. And I know the last time I was here, I didn't go too deep into it, so I'm going to just share. We had our kickoff today, actually, with the grantor, with HEAT and several other communities that also were awarded. I believe there's 20 of us, 10 that were awarded $50,000 to do a study, and 10 that were awarded 10,000 to do preliminary kind of coalition building. So this is who we had today at the meeting. You know, just to go a little bit of background and what sort of motivated us to do this, obviously our climate action plan and the goals within that. Also the fact that we've been really focused on finding ways to attract funding to Gloucester High School. It has some major needs related to HVAC, building envelope. It's, you know, the largest energy consumer of all of our buildings. And it's not likely to be replaced by a new school anytime soon. So we've been putting a lot of energy into, you know, studying that facility. We're also doing an electrification study with National Grid now and looking at several different paths to electrification. So this was sort of tacked onto that as a fourth potential path, probably the most pie in the sky potential option, but something we are now able to explore and look into because of this grant from HEAT. So one of the things that motivated this, as I mentioned before, is the National Grid pilot program. They got approval from the Department of Public Utilities for 4 pilot projects. And those pilot projects are coming with a pretty significant investment in the buildings on the system. They're doing one, I believe, in Lowell at the moment. And they have made an investment in electrification of all the buildings on the system, including public facilities, housing authority buildings, as well as individual residential homes, although our particular study area doesn't have a whole lot of that. So really, you know, part of it is trying to bring money to our high school where we see a major need in terms of infrastructure. There's also quite a lot of grassroots support. I can't tell you how many emails I was getting about this from folks in Gloucester. So it is nice when, you know, what folks in the climate community in Gloucester want to do is also something we can look into, and there's some overlap between, you know, the city's priorities and our needs and, you know, what the community is looking to see. This is our study area. Obviously Gloucester High School is a big part of that, but we also have coordinated and got buy-in to, you know, kind of go down this exploratory exploratory journey with the Division of Marine Fisheries, the Open Door, Lincoln Park. The Veteran Center is obviously a city facility, Pathways for Children, and then we may or may not include in the study area this small cul-de-sac of single-family homes. These are all homes that were developed and sold as deed restricted affordable in relationship with the Gloucester Housing Authority. Some of them are no longer deed restricted. The deed has run out, but they still do have some relationship with the Gloucester Housing Authority in terms of, you know, communications and providing services. So it's possible we would include that. We're kind of mulling it over. Oops, just a little bit of a smattering of all the sort of communities that are served in this study area. So that was what we presented today at the kickoff. We have a long road ahead. We have to figure out purchasing, you know, vendors, scoping. You know, we have a preliminary scope, but a more detailed scope of what this study will entail, and launch into it. Any
Gemma,
questions?
can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Just a question, Jemmy, you mentioned $50,000 for the study, and I thought the award was for $450,000. Can you just clarify where we're at?
It's $50,000. Yeah.
It's 50. Okay. Where did I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
450 from? Was that a number that was floating around?
Is that the sum for
It-
all the communities?
It may be the sum for all the communities, but it is just a study, right? So we're not,
Right.
there's no funds for implementation here.
Yep.
Really, if we were to implement this, right, if it looked really compelling, it would be most likely through the National Grid pilot project.
So this,
Because
Gemma,
there's-
this is a study to do a network geothermal, like a small district heating and cooling kind of setup. Is that really what we're talking about?
Yep, basically.
And what's the timeline, Gemma? How long do we have to do it? A year?
We have till the end of this calendar year, so a little less than a year.
Cool.
Okay. 9 months,
Mhm.
8 months.
No, none.
Slowly becoming, I mean, quickly becoming 8.
And
Yes.
in terms of the purchasing and vendors, would what kinds of organizations might that include? Consulting firms?
Yeah, so Heat has developed a list of potential vendors who can do this, and we did actually meet with several of them when we were putting our scope together to try and get a sense of what we wanted the scope to include. And we have a vendor that we had intended to work with, but we had originally wanted to go down one purchasing path, and we had to sort of backtrack from that because it ended up that we weren't able to go down that path. So we have to backtrack a little bit and figure out what our purchasing path is, but we have a pretty good sense of what the vendors are out there that could provide, you know, a study
Mhm.
like this. And a good sense of what their scopes would look like as well.
Okay. Well, it sounds as though, you know, we're certainly at the starting gate and about to go through it. So, very exciting project. Any other comments on that topic at the moment?
No, I think it's awesome.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So the goal is to just get a general idea of feasibility. Is that the end desired result, and see what perhaps options are?
Yeah, I definitely, so in terms of what the touch points will be through the process, what we had scoped in the grant was to have 2 stakeholder meetings that would include all of our area stakeholders, as well as our partners. So the CEC would certainly be one of the partners there. And we'd have a beginning meeting where we talk about, you know, what the study will entail, and then a final meeting to talk about the results. We might try to make that a little bit more of a fun event, maybe have it at one of the, maybe located at one of these facilities, you know, maybe Open Door would let us host it there. And so there'll be an opportunity to get a lot more information and, you know, talk to other folks who are, you know, coming along for the ride with us on this. And I also can, provide more information about the details, the specific details of what the study will entail. We're toying with different ideas related to, other forms of geothermal, other sources of geothermal energy. So there is a pretty large waste pipe that crosses, cuts right through Gloucester. But we're kind of deferring to, the engineers and the folks who are going to be doing this study to tell us, if it's worthwhile to look into those things. But there are some ideas related to, you know, how we could do this and kind of creative ways of
So
looking at
it's
it.
still being scoped, in other words.
Yeah.
And when do you anticipate the scope will be ready for looking at?
So I was anticipating a lot sooner, but we have to step back a little bit on the purchasing stuff. I don't want to give you go too much into the weeds, but essentially HEAT was originally going to be able to procure the vendors on behalf of communities, and now they're looking to communities to be a pass through, so the funds would pass through the city of Gloucester,
Okay.
which means we have to essentially go back to the drawing board and figure out what our procurement methodology will be.
Okay,
Cool.
thank you.
Other questions? All right. Well, thank you for that, Gemma. And the next one is the status and next steps for the electricity aggregation program renewal.
Yes, so that is moving quickly. We're trying to hit, Good Energy is giving us they're looking at all the numbers and trying to tell us when the most opportune time to go out to bid is. So we actually had our pre-bid meeting, which I think Candace was going to try and make it, but wasn't able to. That was
Yeah, I'm afraid
just
nobody was
before-
able to make it to that other than yourself.
Yeah, that was this Monday, and the bid day is actually going to be next week, Wednesday, midday at 12 p.m. And I think Candace, you are going to be able to make it to that one just to
believe
follow the
so.
process along.
Yep. And my
Um,
backup, Linda Brayton, said she was available if I wasn't, due to family situations that may call me away.
But we
Um,
essentially, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, just to confirm, do we find out the number that day? Is it that fast, or what's the timeline like?
So I'm not sure how fast we are able to start talking about it, but my understanding is that we select a bid and the mayor signs on that day. They
Okay.
have a very structured sort of, bid day signer, bid day decision maker who are predefined. So we talked through all that at our pre-bid meeting. We talked about, a little bit more updated pricing, the same kind of thing that indicative pricing that you all had seen a little bit more updated at our previous meeting. And we have approval from the mayor on your recommendations that he's going to go forward with those and include those in the bid documents. We have approval from the city's legal counsel on all of the details of the documents. So right now we are sort of geared up for that, kind of hour period. And by the end of it, we will have, my understanding, this is my first time going through this process, but my understanding is by the end of it, we will have numbers. We will have rates.
And Gemma, remind me, is this a 2 or a 3-year bid?
So there was a little bit of flexibility on that where we were deciding based on how the numbers came out, but it actually looks like 3 years is probably going to be the most advantageous anyways. So most likely it will be 3 years, but it does
Good.
depend somewhat on what the numbers come
And-
in as.
And Gemma, please remind me, because I was unable to make that meeting, exactly what we agreed on, what the takeaways were.
The recommendations from you all.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yes. So it was the first was on the 100% product to have that account for the existing National Grid renewables requirements and to kind of adjust over the years as those change. And then to increase the default percentage renewables to 15%.
Great, that's right, that's right. Thank you.
And I did meet with Sarah, Courtney, and Pam in the mayor's office, and Alicia, who works for Benchmark Strategies, who does a little bit of who we have a contract to do some PR with, to talk about, you know, what is the messaging going to be, you know, getting information into the community, a press release. So we'll have, you know, hopefully several phases of that, so we can
Good.
take some time to celebrate the success of the previous contract, you know, help people to understand what this process looks like, what it actually entails, and then when we get new rates, you know, help people to understand what those rates will be, why they look the way they look, and hopefully we will have a fairly successful rollout of this. I'm sure there will be lots of chatter, but you know, I'm hoping we can build upon some of the past you know, success, and people have a little bit of faith in us that we're trying to get the best rates possible.
Anybody know what the current National Grid standard offer rate is right now? How many cents per kilowatt hour?
I
don't know.
can look it up.
No, I can look it up though.
I have no idea.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see, basic service rates. Massachusetts 2023, here we go. November 23 to April 2024. You've got 18.2 cents for residential R1 and R2. That's just this, and then there's the supply piece, which is, wait a minute, no. God, you gotta add so many different things up here. Hold on. Customer charge, distribution charge is 8.5. So it's about transmission charge is 4 cents. Wow.
Woo.
It's expensive. It's like 30 cents.
And just to be clear, our customers still have to pay the transmission cost.
Yeah.
But the comparable, I believe would be the 18 cents compared to what.
Yeah, that's the supply piece is 18 cents. And that's for you know, again, through next month, and then it changes again after that. I'm not sure what the rate is for that at that point, but then you've got the, you know, the distribution charge, transmission charge, you know, that's another 842, you know, that's like another 16 cents. So, you know, you're paying 30 cents a kilowatt hour for National Grid right now.
I'm excited about the possibility that we can continue to do better than National Grid's basic.
Yeah, but and again, Candace, that's their winter rate, so that, you know, that supply rate will come down for the spring and summer.
Mm-hmm.
Great, thanks, John. It is what it is.
Yeah,
it ain't cheap.
Nope.
And thank you to Courtney and Sarah for joining us on that meeting. It's really helpful to have folks who have who speak the language of communication. So not to be redundant, but thank you so much for that.
that is great.
Happy to help.
That's all I have today.
Okay. Well, now we can proceed back to the feedback on the training for boards and committees on holding hybrid live and Zoom meetings, which Sam Cleaves and Linda Brayton attended. And would one of you be willing to tell us the gist of what was discussed and what our marching orders are?
I'd like to just say a little bit, and Sam, you know, add on or just disagree or whatever, but I did just today circulate the links to both the lecture by Suzanne Egan on the open meeting laws, which is kind of a refresher course, and also the links to the Zoom room resources there's a whole section on the city website now. So you can find out a lot about what happened because you can just go back and look at it.
Oh, great.
So that'll shorten this considerably. Just a couple of points. There are, right now, as of that meeting, there were 5 rooms set up already that can be hybrid meetings. 3 are in the senior center. 1 is the first floor conference room, and the other is the Harbor Masters. And there's going to be 2 more possibilities. I was blown away by how what a job the IT people did. I mean, absolutely incredible to have the place set up. Huge screens. I mean, they must have gotten ARPA funds or something, but the senior center has been redone quite a bit upstairs, so there's 2 more conference rooms. Very nice, but big screens. You just walk up to the wall and push a button, and there you all are. It's impressive. So, take a look if nothing else, just to see that, and to a round of applause really for IT. And Suzanne Egan is really terrific as far as being able to explain things clearly, precisely, answer questions. We got one particular answer. Sam asked the question about the subcommittees. We don't have to do that in most cases. The distinction is, if we, not a quorum, but under a quorum, if a working group goes to the side somehow, has meetings separately on a project, on a particular matter, as I think she puts it, brings it back to the group, that's okay. We don't have to officially, unless we officially vote to be a subcommittee, we don't have to go through all of the subcommittee official stuff. It just has to be that we aren't
Can't
just
make decisions about it, right? That's right.
What's that?
We can't make decisions about it. We just have to develop the information and bring it back to the overall committee for them to decide.
Yep.
I see.
So that is a wonderful thing to know. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that is great, because it makes it much less cumbersome.
We
Okay.
have to be totally hybrid. I mean hybrid. Sorry, we have to have in-person meetings by March 30th, 2025. Minutes should be in within 30 days. Just enough. Well, enough said. And with that, that's all the big.
That's challenging.
Did you say that we have to move to the hybrid? What's the date? 2025?
March 30th, 2025. It has to be all done and dusted. But I think we can have both, but we have to have the in-persons.
Okay.
But we
Can
will
I ask-
probably we'll be assigned a room, or I think generally from the sounds of it, we'll be in a particular spot.
Do the board members have to all be present in person, or could a board member who was on a business trip or something Zoom in and take part in the meeting?
Still Zoom in. That's what I understood anyway, yeah.
You can Zoom in.
I assume, since they're saying hybrid, that's an option.
Yeah,
you know,
and
that-
Right. Well, they've set the entire senior center up on the idea that that's going to continue.
Right, so,
Both, yeah. But if we have to have in-person in place, have the system in place by the 2025, March 30th.
And just re-emphasizing, we don't violate the guidelines if there's a board member that is attending by Zoom rather than in person in the hybrid.
There was one.
that's what hybrid is.
Okay, good.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that they had been talking about having the public able to Zoom in, but whether we as board members could Zoom in, and it's great if we can, because there are plenty of situations where people are not physically able to get to the
Right.
location for the hybrid meeting, whether they're commuting or traveling or whatever. I think this will be a good system for us.
Sure.
Especially, I have been on various committees and commissions and whatever for 20 years, different ones. I really got something out of the presentation that Suzanne Egan did.
It's wonderful.
And, folks in the room, she said, how many people have been on commissions over 10 years? Most of the room went up. And everybody was very attentive, and it was good. It was
That's
good.
terrific.
Good job.
What's the date? Do we know we have to switch over to in-person?
Was that the March 30, 2025?
Yeah, when it's I think the way I understand it is when we absolutely have to do that, but we are going to be assigned a room soon, I think.
Okay, so
So we'll be able to.
who's gonna be contacted regarding the room and when we start? Is that gonna go to the chairs?
I bet you it's gonna be well,
I think it may go to Candace. So
Yeah.
it might take a little bit of time. Melissa is going to be charged with scheduling the rooms,
Okay.
and we may want to think about, because it's going to be a lot harder to get times that we want, we may want to think about scheduling meetings a little bit further in advance, which we've been kind of on a cycle of doing, a couple of meetings scheduled at a time. But just
I got the impression though, Gemma, that they actually are going to either, I mean, maybe we get to say what room we want in the beginning, but I think we more or less are going to be assigned to a room. And it does make sense because some of the rooms are small, some of them are large, some, whatever.
Now, will we have to ramp up some technology that we have to know how to use in order to make these meetings flow smoothly?
Very,
Ryan
straightforward.
demonstrated, it was really simple.
Yeah.
Look at this, you walk up to, if you, like me, you walk up to the wall, push a button, it starts, walk up to the wall again, shut it down. However, if you want to do things like let people in and out, I would defer to Gemma, but I don't think it's difficult. It's just anybody that's been doing that could do it from a laptop. So you don't have to keep running around in front of the camera.
Mhm.
Anyway, it was, that's something where there's several links training right there on the city website. On
Oh,
this.
good.
Yeah.
And
We should-
where on the city website do we go?
I think
Is there a,
I sent the link out, but I think I
Okay.
went to online services and went down to the bottom and there's suddenly a new link. Zoom.
okay, great. Well, thank you, Sam
Oh,
and
you know
Linda
what?
for
Yeah,
attending this.
the legal, if you can't find my email, the legal office has on the left-hand side on fairly small letters, one link, which is that training.
Okay,
Should we set our next meeting?
yes, we should. We're closing in on 6 o'clock here.
Yes.
The natural direction would be to go to the third Wednesday of next month, which would be April, let us see. Third Wednesday, 1, 2, 3, April 17th. How would that be for people?
Good for me.
That's fine for me.
Fine for me.
That is school vacation week, so I cannot guarantee, it's not, I'm not like, I don't have a vacation plan or anything, but it messes with my schedule, so.
So you
I'm
might not
up
be
in the air there, but not a definite no.
Would it be any better for people if we bumped it ahead 1 week so that school vacation week is over? And that would make it Wednesday, April 24th, which is Administrative Professionals Day.
Yeah, I've got one of those over 50 procedures that day, so.
Okay,
Yeah,
The next day we're leaving for Spain for 2 weeks, and so,
so we'll stick with the 17th.
well,
Yeah,
if
I
you
could
don't,
probably make it.
if the 24th works better for you guys, fine. I don't necessarily need to be the one who holds the thing up.
Sam and Linda, how
Make the
about you?
17th.
I don't, it doesn't matter to me.
Okay,
Let's try
Well,
to set.
yeah, let's try for the 17th and hope that Sarah can join us.
Courtney too, although school age.
Yeah, anyone.
You
who's-
may have better luck with Sarah and Courtney the following week.
Well,
could we
I
try
can't
the
speak
week?
for either of them, but I don't have kids in school anymore, so.
Would it be too soon to do the week before that? That would be
that would be
April
April
10th.
10th.
Yeah, all right.
It's okay
10th
with
is
you?
fine with me.
Sarah, is that better for you?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Why don't we do that? That way
Great.
we get
Okay.
rid of the vacation issue.
Okay.
Okay, so next meeting will be Wednesday, April 10th at 5 o'clock. And I presume that we're going to be on Zoom for that meeting, even if there are arrangements that are almost ready for us elsewhere. Let's stick with Zoom for that upcoming meeting.
Okay.
All right. Well, are there any other items that need to be mentioned before we adjourn? Not hearing any, I would like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Very good. And a roll call vote. Linda Brayton,
I.
Candace Wheeler, aye. Sarah Shemkus,
I.
Sam Cleaves.
Aye.
And John Muskell.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, and have a good evening. We are adjourned.
Bye,
thank you,
guys.
thank you, Kim.